Hello, and welcome back to Timberborn. This is a new series that I'm starting now. It's going to be a little different than what I've done in the past. This one is going to be kind of walking through my design process and why I place things where I do, kind of the order of everything. And it's going to be sped up so that it flows a little bit better. So, before I place any buildings or anything in my builds, I like to pause the game is to not waste any time before the first route appears, and so that way you can maximize the amount of time that you have access to water before the first drought. And right now I'm just kind of setting up the dam and my first water pump to get water, but more importantly, I'm getting the lumberjacks set up. And I personally like to have 4 lumberjacks at first, since you have 4 builders that you can have building things in the beginning. But other than that, you won't have any jobs. So if you can get the lumberjack set up, then you can get the wood as quickly as possible. And in here, I didn't realize that there was pine over on the right above the district center. So kind of moved a couple of those lumberjack flags up there. I like to focus on getting wood early game because it is the limiting factor normally in when you're building everything. And if you can get the forester as soon as possible, ideally before the first drought, then it really sets you up pretty well for not being uh, held back by not having enough wood. And if you can plant maple early on, that's really the key in my opinion. And then I like to get some water storage set up. Placing the small water tanks in groups of 3 is pretty good if you want to plan ahead, because the large water tank takes up the same amount of space as 3 small water tanks, so it's good for that future planning. Yeah, and right now just waiting for the beavers to build, and you do want to get housing set up for the folktails early on, since the way that they grow the population is through the housing, unlike the iron teeth. And yeah, here it looks like put another lumberjack in because a little low on wood. Like we have water and there's berries nearby, and yeah, you can see here getting the housing set up. Just getting 4 of them, so there will be 1 extra bed so that there can be another baby that they make. And then the next thing that you really want to focus on is getting food. And so getting, farm set up as soon as possible is important. It is definitely better to overplant food instead of underplant. That way you can have some stored up when your population starts to increase, especially if you're using the folktales and you add a bunch of housing and then you have a bunch of new babies because they still require food. So yeah, and then you will probably want to remove the berries after you have carrots and potatoes set up, since they don't actually add any nutritional value to your beavers, at least like for the well-being. But I mean, they are essential in the beginning to make sure that you actually have food, because it takes 4 days, I believe, for the carrots to grow. And then something else that you will want to make sure you get up fairly quickly is science, because you'll need science in order to unlock the forester, and it takes a little while to build up enough science points, because they make 1 science point per hour, and they only make it as long as they're working. So it takes 60 to get the forester. And then once you have the water pump, the water storage, the farmhouse, the inventor's hut and the dams actually built, then you can start uh, putting some wood into getting a lumber mill and then also a power source. Uh, that could be either a power wheel or a water wheel. Those would be the two power sources you want to use at first, and that will set you up then to get the forester, since the forester requires planks. So that's also something that you gotta make sure you're looking for. And here I was kind of just planning where I want or what I want to use my green space for, because I think what I was looking at was having the farm kind of on the left side, where the birch trees are, and then up along the ridge where the pine trees are is where I'll get the forester set up and plant maple, and then the berries will eventually I'll probably want to get those replaced with some more carrots or potatoes. Um, and right now the lumberjacks actually can't reach uh, all the trees, so you need to have a zigzaggy path over there. Um, yeah, actually setting up uh, another forest, or not forester, another lumberjack, so that we can get the last couple trees. And then once I get access to the other side of the river, since this dam's almost complete, getting another lumberjack or two set up is good, since the first side is out of the bulk of the wood, and like there's still some trees left, but you only need maybe one lumberjack flag per section, like for the birch and for the pine. But there's a lot of wood, especially with it being chestnut across the dam, and those produce 4 wood per tree. So having a couple extra lumberjacks over there, it's good to make sure you get wood pretty quickly. And like I mentioned before, wood's the limiting factor, and uh, yeah, need to get the housing set up so you can start getting more jobs with more beavers. So that's actually something that I then prioritized. There's plenty of food, and yeah, the berries, want to get rid of those at some point, but for now it's just a kind of a fallback, since berries, it takes quite a few days for them to dry out, um, unlike carrots or potatoes or sunflower seeds or just sunflowers. Uh, yeah, those dry out much faster. But since I have the dam set up, it's not really something that I would have to worry about. But just in case, in case uh, I accidentally over pumped uh, the water where the farm is next to. But yeah, and then now with some of these trees getting chopped down, can attempt to try straightening the path out, but it'll be a little while because some of those uh, the saplings take a while to grow up, since they're pine. I believe they take 12 days, and uh, if you place a path, then you'll prevent the spread of the saplings, since they can only fall uh, one tile adjacent to the parent tree. Um, but yeah, and I'm getting a lumber mill set up, and I decided to use a power wheel instead of a water wheel, since I kind of like having the um, I like having the lumber mill be able to run even when a drought happens, since obviously during a drought the water is not going to be flowing, and that'll prevent you from having any power. So, but that's just kind of my personal preference. It does, I think it takes 10 more logs to build one of those than a water wheel, but that actually might be for the iron teeth for the compact water wheel. But Yeah, I just like it for the consistency personally. And then uh, in the beginning, if since you're probably going to be short on beavers for jobs, once you have the crops all planted, you can actually pause your farm for a little bit while the food grows, since you don't need the farmers there to just watch the food grow. Uh, but yeah, and so I finally got the forester set up, and I'm just kind of trying to figure out what's the best place to put it so it covers the most green space. And I kind of decided to go with this one since it goes around the corner a little bit, and uh, I kind of figured that if I need more forest space down below to the right of the farm, then I could make some stairs over there or place another forester. But yeah, I mean, because there's quite a lot of unutilized space up to the left of the ridge behind where the forester's placed now. So that was just kind of why I decided to place it up there. Either place would have worked. And making a log pile actually takes no resources, even though it used to. So that's a nice little addition that they put in this most recent update. Even though it very much looks like there are logs uh, on the outside of that log pile storage. But yeah, I have all the housing set up now, and so now the beavers will be able to reproduce, and so we can have at least 15 beavers plus the last one that'll bump it up to 18. And that is where we're going to end this video for today. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.